Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about a trend or a movement that was popular like 10 or 15 years ago, but I'm only just recently discovering it. And I've actually been doing this in my life for a little while now. And now I'm starting to realize that it was a bit of a trend before, and I'm not like a trendsetter or anything like that. But basically, this lifestyle, this technique, this way of thinking, if you implement this into your life, into your business, you're going to have an awful lot of clarity. You're going to have far less distractions. You're going to have incredible focus. And I think it's really important for anyone that is just starting out or anyone that is running an online business, maybe that things are a bit chaotic or they're just trying to self-improve or focus on one single task or one single goal. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Ben Lister. I help agency owners and online business owners to save thousands and thousands of hours by doing marketing for them, doing outreach for them, so they can actually focus on the business rather than working in the business. The thing that I want to talk about today is a thing called minimalism, right? Now, some of you will know what that is if you're basically familiar with different internet trends, or maybe you were on the internet or saw different articles popping up like 10 years ago. But actually what minimalism is, basically the idea of just having less things. Now that sounds really basic, right? And that sounds like, of course that makes sense. When it comes down to it, it's really about how you think about things, right? I'm currently in the process of moving where I'm living. I'm currently moving to London in a few weeks' time, and I'm moving out of a house that I've lived in for a long time, and I'm getting rid of stuff that's been there for a long time. I'm slowly starting to realize I was holding on to a lot of stuff that I didn't really need, and there was just lots of stuff everywhere. It's just pointless stuff, basically. And the lifestyle that I'm trying to build now, the environment that I want to build, is going to be very minimalistic, and I've always wanted that, right? But now I'm starting to realize the scale of the task that's ahead of me because I have so much moving to do. And this is really, it encapsulates a lot of different parts of your life, whether it comes to, the environment you're in, whether it comes to, what's on your screen, what's on your laptop, whether it comes to your relationships, anything else like this just takes up that focus, that energy. It's almost like background noise, right? What I've discovered is that I've cleaned out like an awful lot of stuff, right? So I've had like cupboards and wardrobes that are just full of stuff that's like I don't ever use, and all of a sudden now, because I've got rid of it, I almost feel like there's less things to focus on. Like I actually can focus on just my business now. I can focus on just signing clients and serving clients. I can just focus on creating YouTube videos. And it's almost like this breath of fresh air that's been like pushed through my life. And when I move out, I'm planning on literally just showing up with like my laptop, a couple of things that I need, like a microphone, my clothes, and that is about it. Like honestly, like there's so much stuff that I was like, oh, I'll need this and I'll need that, and I'll need, 100 books, and I'll need all these items, and I'll need, 2 different monitors and all this kind of stuff. And now I'm realizing like I don't actually need that. If I don't use it at least every single month, then I have no use for it at all. And 90% of the things I own, I don't use on a monthly basis. It's less than that. And I would probably say 50% of the things I own, I use less than once a year, which sounds extreme, but I think if you go through your things, if you're in a similar situation to me, so basically you've been living in the same place for a while, you've been collecting things without really knowing it. When you go through your stuff, you go through items of clothing that you have, you'll realize that you haven't used it in a very, very, very long time, and a large portion of that stuff you almost forgot that you had, which is bizarre, but it's just how it is. And this is what I'm finding myself. And one thing that's really resonating with me right now, something that I'm thinking about quite a lot, is this idea of being a consumer or being a producer, right? The consumer is obviously someone who buys things, uses things, has things, who wants things, right? The people who are looking to have the fancy cars and the nice clothes and all that kind of stuff. And through different parts of my life, I was very much that person. I still am to some degree. I'm trying to slowly get rid of that and to slowly move on to being a more of a producer. But obviously these things take time, and you're always going to need some things, right? I would be lying if I said to you I didn't look at the latest MacBook or the latest, the best microphones and think, that would be fantastic. But then when I think about it like deep down, like the microphone I have now works fine. The laptop that I have now works fine. My phone is great. I don't really need too many more clothes. I mean, I could always do with more, but I guess like there's so many items of clothing that I have that I don't actually use. I need to focus on getting rid of those first, right? And so I'm still very much a consumer in that sense, but I'm much less of a consumer than I was before. Whereas lifestyle that I want to have and the sort of goals that I have in my life and where I want to be in, 5, 10, 20 years, it means that I need to become much more of a producer. And this means not only just creating content and putting yourself out there, but also creating businesses, creating value. I think you can't really do both. If you are focused on both, then you're not really doing both. You can't really focus on being a consumer as such. But if you focus on being a producer and you're also thinking about buying the latest watches, you're thinking about buying the nicest clothes, you're thinking about, what you're going to be posting on Instagram and how you're going to be presenting yourself and stuff like that, I think if you are focusing on that and you're also trying to be a producer, you're also trying to build businesses, you're also trying to focus on your clients and, make things, whether this is a service, a product, whether this is content, whatever it is, if you're trying to make things and produce those things and you're also trying to buy lots of stuff as well, and the reason that you are producing is because you want to buy more things, I guess at some level you are a consumer, right? And this is the big thing that I think is going to separate the people that make it, the people that achieve their goals in the next 10, 20 years, and the people that don't. There's a lot of talk by Jordan Peterson, who I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, but if you're not, he's a clinical psychologist, very famous on YouTube, and he always talks about the divide between people, and it is getting larger and larger and larger. And the way that I see the divide coming is and this divide is obviously in terms of income, it's in terms of assets, it's in terms of basically anything that's resourceful. And so the people that have and the people that have not is going to get wider and wider, and that's largely due because of the internet and because of AI and technology and all this kind of stuff, where eventually, obviously, if we get complete full artificial intelligence that can think for itself and it's sentient, at that point a lot of jobs are kind of out the window, and so it's going to replace all of these people. It's going to replace people who do truck driving, taxi driving, all this kind of stuff, right? And so the divide in people who have the skills and who don't have the skills is going to become wider and wider. And this is maybe also me projecting a little bit of my fears sometimes on these videos, and maybe just my fear about how society is going to evolve over the next 50 years or so. But basically the way that I see it is the people that aren't producing, the people that aren't putting themselves out there, they're not building businesses, they're not actually actively doing something or building these skills at an incredible rate, which you would do by building a business or doing something like that, the divide's going to get much bigger, and you're not going to be on that side that you want to be. You're not going to be the person that has the stuff or wants or has the assets, and at that point the people that don't have the assets you're going to be included in there, basically. And that's kind of not the fear that I have, but that's sort of the thinking that I have, and that's one of the reasons why I want to develop and produce and have these things and build my business and things like that. And I'm sure that there's many people watching this that also do feel that way. They maybe see that divide coming, or maybe they don't have things right now that they want, such as freedom and power and money and everything that comes with that, right? And the freedom to live the lifestyle that you want. And that's why they're building their business. That's why they're creating a marketing agency and doing things like that. I've kind of gone on a bit of a tangent here, to be completely honest with you, but I feel like if you are living this minimalism life, if you are literally just having the bare minimums that you own, and so your focus goes onto your business, it goes onto your relationships, it goes onto the things that actually matter to you, you're more likely to bridge that gap. And in 10 years time, 20 years time, you're going to reach your goals. You're going to be the person that has those assets, that has that freedom, where the vast majority of people, I don't think, won't in a few years time. And that's just the way that I see it. I don't think that's explicitly the reason why I am actually doing this and building these businesses and being committed and putting in the long hours and stuff like that, but it is definitely something to think about. This would not be something that I would encourage people if you basically own lots of stuff and you all of a sudden just sell everything that you own, because I wouldn't recommend that. Maybe do a bit of research on what you want and what you have, and obviously just go through the things that you have and understand, is there anything that you own that you can just think, I don't need this anymore? And it takes that mental capacity in your brain without actually knowing it. It's so conscious that you don't actually realize it's taking up energy and time, And once that's cleared, once that's gone, once you have a very, very limited number of items that you own and you use almost on a daily basis or at least a weekly basis, then I think the focus in your life and the enjoyment and the fulfillment in your life is going to be increased tenfold almost. At least that's what I'm experiencing right now, and it's what I have been experiencing over the last year, just focusing on buying less and creating more and using less, really. So if you are looking to sign more clients and to grow your marketing agency or service-based business, go ahead and click the first link in the description. Don't worry, we're not going to ask you for your email or your phone number to just watch a video or something like that. It's literally just a video of me explaining how my company can do this on a done-for-you basis. You don't have to click it, of course. If you don't want to, that's completely fine. It's not going to affect me too much. If you just want to watch these videos and enjoy the content, then you can obviously do that. But obviously, if you did enjoy the video, then go ahead and click the like button. Comment anything below you want me to cover, because I'm going to cover tons and tons of topics over the next few months. And obviously subscribe if you want to see more, because I'm going to be dropping a lot of videos. So yeah, appreciate you watching this one to the end, and take care. Cheers.